We finally maybe sort of got a reveal between Daniel and Helen and the senator. Knox and Shirley, they're knoxed up. We're discussing all that and more in a brand new episode of Unbinged, starting now. Welcome to Unbinged, the podcast talking about all the shows and movies that you love to binge. It's me, Jagger May. That's Matt Kaufheimer and Vig Dorashwamy. We just watched Silo episode 6, and before we get going, Vig, will you give us a spoiler warning?
All right, folks, we are not going to spoil the books probably, but we're definitely going to spoil the crap out of this show. So don't watch if you don't want to get spoiled.
Big ask coming from me. I'm dying to spoil it. We finally see that Daniel and Helen maybe get to go somewhere and save the world. They get ushered away in this sweet-ass automatic controlled vehicle, and they meet a senator. That's it. That's all we know. Koff, we'll throw it to you. What's your speculation?
Fuck, man. I don't know. I understand why they want Daniel because of his engineering background and what he did in New Orleans with the drill and the levees. Why they want Helen, I don't understand. She's a failed journalist. Yeah, she had integrity, and we find her backstory about she uncovered this drug addiction amongst staffers and possibly the Speaker of the House, and she tanked her own career to save or in penance of a source she accidentally burned. So at least we know she has integrity, but at the end of the day, it seems like they're bringing her along as a +1 for Daniel, and I'm wondering if they're going to use her as a leverage piece against him, because we can clearly see he's falling in love with her. So I could absolutely see them being like, do what we say, help save the world, or we're gonna kill Helen. But otherwise, she seems like a kind of a waste of a character, other than to be a compelling piece for Daniel.
Yeah, and I'm not calling journalism snitching, but for their perspective, she's
very much against what they want.
Yeah. I was like, cool, man. You want a job? You can do nothing but snitch, and you can't help us. And it's actually the whole nature of who you are as a being. But come look at this cool bunker, nigga. Let's go. It seems kind of nuts to me, but I don't know. Vig, where are you at?
I mean, same idea, same what Koff said. I'm not entirely sure where they're going with this. Maybe to get some more leverage, there's got to be some knocking her up action too, just like how Shirley got knocked up. That's what they seem to be using, right? Pregnancy is used throughout this show as sort of this recurring almost theme and a weapon almost, and weaponizing it. So that makes sense. But also, they're just worried. If you loop her in, maybe she realizes why she can't write about it, and maybe they don't have to offer. I'm not sure. That's the other simplistic answer. But these guys don't care. If they wanted to offer, they would offer. So we'll see. It's got to be deeper than that. But that's the other alternative reason that she's brought along, or she knows too much. So it makes sense to keep her in and try to show her why they're not bad people. I think ultimately all villains believe, right, that they're not bad people, and that maybe they have this higher, we're going to save the world, right? That's how they ended the episode. We're going to save the world, even though we're probably going to kill everyone in doing it. We're going to save some of the world, whatever that nonsense is going to be. And I think that's what they're trying to do.
Whenever you see someone okay, you're going to kidnap me, and you're like, you won't save the world.
Exactly.
You just know it's going to be bad. It's not a good idea what they're going to do to save the world. First, I would be like, okay, I didn't know there was a problem. 2, who asked you to solve it? 3, maybe send an email of do you want to come for tea? And then you can do the cloak and dagger shit. And maybe there's an explanation. Maybe there's because they were digging themselves.
To play devil's advocate, that one creepy white old dude had kind of surreptitiously been inviting them to collaborate, and then this is a last-ditch effort. So I will give the show that they have kind of given them avenues to explore this before going with the failsafe. However, that drive was I wanted to fast forward through every single one of those scenes, because I don't care about Helen and Daniel's relationship and them falling in love. I just don't care. I don't see the chemistry between them, and I don't see the point. Why give us a love story at this point in the story? If we're doing flashbacks, unless it's going to inform why or how they build the silos in the future.
Yeah, I'm talking to you guys who have commented. They're like, it's not. Guys, we watch so many fucking shows. I don't need you to explain to me that this isn't an action show. I've read the books. I watch TV all the time. I study writing. I'm going to flip this back onto you guys. Just because they're stopping to talk about relationships and feelings, it doesn't mean that it actually matters and it moves the plot. You can do these things in a much better way that actually move and develop a plot. To talk about a series that does this well while it moves the plot, and it's the most popular one. That's why I'm going to use it. I'll think of a different one as we go along. Game of Thrones. I look at Tyrion Lannister. We talk about those moments and feelings and how they move a plot. We see Tyrion kill his dad. That makes sense. All the things and why he moves and has these moments of feeling and emotion. Those are plot movers. Jon Snow, his relationship with the Starks, that's a plot mover. Helen and Daniel, it feels like a plot slowdown because I do not care about them. I cared about Tyrion and Jon Snow much earlier. I need them to make me care before I get a lot of this backstory. I'd even argue now, Knox and Shirley, I do not care about their plot line. I care about them more than Daniel and Helen. That's to give you perspective in here. And I think sometimes if you don't, depending on what you watch or maybe your taste, I'm not judging that you're willing to accept a lot of distraction. I am not, because there's a lot of TV for me to watch. We'll talk about this more. I'll go to you first, Koff. Before we do that, make sure to hit the like, subscribe button. And if you're on your mobile device, hit the hype. And we have a lot of shows that are coming up right now. We have Ted Lasso that just started. None of you guys are watching that. You should fix it. X-Men 97, we're going to finish up that entire season of that. Of course, we got 4 more episodes of Silo. Those release as soon as Silo release at the end of the episode at night on Thursdays. We get those out pretty early. We have House of the Dragon. The finale is coming up next week, and then we're going right into Lanterns. So we're going to be with you Monday and Thursday night for a while, because even after Silo, there is, what's that show called? Dark Matter, another sci-fi show. I think I've done all the stuff. Koff, you had something that you wanted to expand on.
Yeah, I mean, we don't even have to go to another show for examples of what you're talking about. Go back to season 1, the first couple episodes between the sheriff and Rashida Jones and his wife. A lot of that was exposition and relationship, and it moved the plot forward. They were able to do both things, so that's why it's so disappointing when we get to season 3 of the same fucking show, and they seemingly forgot how to do that in the writing room. So that's why I'm so baffled that we are spending so much time with these characters where it seems like a drag on the show and on the plot, and it's moving things incrementally forward so slowly that it's detrimental to the rest of the show. And maybe I'm just complaining to complain, but it feels very much like they could have done this better.
I agree, Matt. I think that's what you hit the nail right on the head, and Jagger, you too. I think this is a show, and we were talking about it through our text earlier, that I don't think it needed 10 episodes for this season. Clearly, the season is a setup for the finale, and that's okay. But I feel like they could have done a lot of this story in 8 episodes, maybe even 6. If you look at the first few episodes, our biggest complaint for us, and the comments agreed, was it was just really dragging. Episode 5, episode 6 picks up a little bit, right? Episode 5 I thought was pretty good, picks up the pace, starts answering questions, asks more questions, but it gives us some answers. But something has changed. Look, before people think I'm getting too critical, I'm not saying I don't like this show a lot. I do. I'm going to reserve loving shows for shows that are truly, 9, 10 out of 10. And this scrapes that sometimes. Early seasons were really masterpiece level of shows. But that's because the writing was so good. You cannot fix bad writing. You can fix anything else, right? But you cannot fix bad writing. And something has happened this season that just doesn't seem to be the same as episode 1, or season 1 rather. For example, this whole side story into Supply, which I'm sure will be far more important. Now it gave us some gravitas, right? They finally told us why this matters. We're going to die in 2 years. I get it. Took a long time to get there, but you got
They could have said that. That's what I'm talking about. That's
do it earlier.
It's too long. Yeah, it's too long, man. It's like we're taking too long. This is 6 to 8 episodes of content, and which is nuts, man, because usually we complain the opposite. We're like, man, like, this needs to be 10 episodes to stretch out. I think TV in general has a pacing problem because we keep pacing based on TV scheduling, which you do with sitcoms, other shit like that. But for shows and for streaming like this, that's not how you should pace a show. If you have 9 episodes of material, it should be 9 episodes. You're probably going to get a better show in 9 episodes. I don't even understand the scheduling because they're releasing Dark Matter and Silo at the same time. It's actually a problem for us. So you could have ended this show already and you have another show that's successful right behind it. And that's what I'm talking about with the pacing, guys. We're not stupid. I understand how fucking emotion works. I have a podcast about TV, respectfully. It's the pace is so goddamn slow. That's what's frustrating.
But I think laziness has shown up in other ways in writing too, right?
Yeah.
In Supply, she talks to the sheriff and she goes, "They're stealing boxes. You know what that means, right?" And then he goes, "Oh, yeah, that means we're going to run out of our supplies." I'm like, come on, we are not children, folks. Like, that is bad writing. We're not just trying to sit on some like ivory tower and say, "Show, don't tell," and but like truly, the show don't tell is such a big mantra in good writing and good television for a reason. And as I'm watching, episode 5, episode 6, even though I like these episodes a fair bit more than maybe some of the earlier ones, some of that lazy bad writing is creeping in, and I just don't know what happened that led to this. Like, did they just need to take up a few extra seconds here and there to get a 45-minute episode because they needed 10 episodes? Is it as simple as that?
It feels like padding.
Yeah, it's all padding. Yeah, it's like when you're just stalling for time. Are we getting filibustered by TV now? That's what it feels like. We're going to take a look at some other areas that's actually in the silo, I guess. Let's go talk about the underground resistance as a whole in here. And because Jules straight up took a back seat again, which again, I somewhat understand. I'm not complaining. The underground resistance matters more. Kyle discovers lines in IT and mechanical. So we have multiple fires now where, clearly the voice or whoever can hit the bloop. I'm assuming it's a button. Maybe it's a lever. Maybe it's a couple of clicks and you turn off a silo.
Maybe it's one of those wheel things. You got to spin it.
Oh, yeah. You spin it. Yeah.
Open the valve.
I actually want a wheel like Wheel of Fortune where you're just like, or like when. Yeah. Yeah, and if it lands on kill, like, that sucks, bro. Yeah.
It's 100 spaces, 99 say safeguard kill, and the other one's safe.
Safe, yeah. And you're just hoping that you hit the one slice. But we know that that's there. We know that Silo 17 was taken out by that. Now we got the 2-year rule. We got 2 Glenda Harwoods. I don't know if I can handle another mystery, guys. Are we thinking twins?
Are they all the same mystery, just deceivingly wrapped up in different packages?
Probably. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I think we've been complaining for a while that clearly people have figured out ways to get between floors that isn't down a central set of stairs. Very obvious. I think that's what this is, right? I don't think there's 2 Glenda Harwoods. They just had to show us that there's a quick way for her to get from point A to point B. But twins would be terribly lazy
Secret
writing.
Twins?
Secret. But it could be done well. It could be done well. It could be done well.
Yeah,
There's actually 6 Glendas.
What's that movie? Something Happened on Monday. I watched that. I actually had hope that a straight to Netflix movie was gonna be good. That movie was ass, dude. But actually, same plot line though is what I'm getting at, and I'm gonna give them credit. This actually could be cool because they manage population in the silo. What happens if you allow someone to get pregnant and they have twins? Is there a rule? Is there a rule in the pact for that? Do you what is it like? You miss from the Odyssey. You just like yeet one over the oops, sorry, baby, you got to go clean.
Yeah, I mean the other thing it seems like is you have the mines as a punishment, but then we find out with Anthony and the Sim storyline that supply is a punishment too. So if you get caught stealing in school, even at 9 years old, and you get expelled, you got to go to supply. Which, why would you send thieves to supply? Maybe that's the start of their problem. Is they're sending all the fucking thieves to supply.
I think that's what you tell a kid, dude. That's just a threat. You can't threaten a kid with the mines, right? You threaten a kid with something gentle. It's like the juvie. You're not going to send them straight
But why
to like.
would you send them to critical, like where the things that you need the silo to survive?
Regular supply. There's reasons for that. You kind of show them the importance of supply in the world. It was whatever.
Send them
I thought
to
that
the
as a throwaway.
farms. Hard labor is more likely. Like,
Yeah.
why would you send them
you're getting
to
skin
supply?
cancer, buddy.
I mean,
you're getting skin cancer.
I do think that finally maybe the storyline that I'll be honest, I wasn't as interested in before because they just did not do a good job of it. And it really dragged. Is the Camille Rob sort of storyline? I think obviously they've shown us a lot about Common. I keep calling him Common Sims. Having had all of this stuff from the start, like saving Bernard and like doing all these things. But there's a line earlier in the show where they talk about whatever we do, we like do it together or not at all on something else. I still want to think that Camille is trying to play the algorithm a little bit. I think that theory of mine has failed. Let me know what y'all think. Because she said the vitamin D D+ has been in the system for at least 2 hours already. Maybe it's a lie. Maybe it's not really there. Maybe she's continuing the lie. But I feel like the algorithm voice is not entirely omnipresent and all-knowing as we may think it is, and maybe they're playing that to their advantage.
Yeah,
who knows?
It's definitely not omnipotent. Like you can tell that it has blind spots. It doesn't know some
For
things,
sure.
Especially when we hear like it doesn't know if there's children or not in 17.
Mm-hmm.
I
don't know.
Man,
that might be a lie, dude. It knows. There's no way it doesn't know.
It might.
That's probably a lie.
But possibly.
I don't think.
But this episode, especially, I was completely off on Camille as a character. I'm like, she's kind of a wet blanket. This episode brought me back in. I was like, we got some really genuine moments from her, especially when she has that mini breakdown where she's like, I'm failing as a mother, as a wife, as a leader.
Head of IT.
The algorithm, and the algorithm or the voice, whatever you want to call it, gives her that little pep talk to be like, hey, you are capable. Like you were chosen for a reason. And she got back on her little high horse. So I thought that was very well done this episode. I know we've been complaining about a lot of the failures from this episode, but I think that was one of its strongest points. Going back to your point of that relationship started to feel stale, and they gave us a really nice moment with Anthony, with Rob Sims, with Camille, and then having Camille have that breakdown later, and then having her swing back to full villain mode when you get the reveal of, I already introduced it into the water supply 2 hours ago. She pulled her Ozymandias stick out and just laid it on the table.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm not some comic book villain. Rorschach.
Thank you.
Yeah, I didn't have words of affirmation from the voice on my bingo card for this show, but here we are.
Positive reinforcement.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And Camille's just confusing for me because you're right, and she's definitely not a wet blanket of a character. I don't understand her motivations. This isn't a complaint. Like, maybe we'll get there. I just genuinely don't understand. She's just so in a hurry to wipe everyone's memory. Like she's Tommy Lee Jones and Men in Black. She's just like bloop, like ready to just fucking blank it out. And I'm wondering if this is her wanting to give herself relief,
like a fresh start for herself too.
Yeah, like fuck it. If I wipe everyone's memory, Rob won't be mad at me. There won't be pressures of being a mom anymore, or maybe I can start over and be a mom a different way. I don't know. Like things are, there's like options and shit like that. I just don't get it, because you would think she would be closer to Rob, and honestly, cold-blooded motherfucker, dude, that I've seen, and we know why. And this is why I say I get the emotion part. I understand why Rob's the way he is now. He got a taste of his own medicine, realized it fucking sucked, and now he's like, well, man, I was awful. And I think Camille needs that moment, but you would think she would already been having that moment time after time again. And at the same time, she does have the pressure that Rob never had. Rob had that Bernard-shaped buffer between him and the algo, right?
They haven't outright said this though, but I and maybe I'm missing something. You guys can remind me, but is the reason she has to do the vitamin D, or the reason she has to do whatever the voice wants to do, it's obviously because the voice said they're going to unleash the safeguard, right? Like that's what Bernard talks about. Like she knows that if she doesn't follow things to a certain degree, the safeguard gets unleashed. That's ultimately the whole point, right? So I think like knowing that does give us ideas as to what is her motivation, why Bernard was the way he was. And we can see it, right? We see the change in Bernard's character when he hears from Jules. It doesn't have to be that way, right? and that's when he changes everything. So I think that makes sense. So I think that is the big plot line. We got to see, what do they do? They're gonna obviously Lucas and Kennedy aren't even supposed to get out. We heard the voice say that. So I do want to see what happens with that. I think that's a storyline I'm interested in. I just need these other little threads to kind of converge back into the main storyline. And I'm trying to think of ways they do that. So, quick question for you guys, and maybe I'm looking into this too much. Clearly, our goal has a Pez dispenser, and obviously, it's the same Pez dispenser that's going to make itself all the way over into our silo.
It's a special Pez dispenser.
But I do wonder, the watch that George had that they keep talking about and the artifact of that watch. Is it the same watch that Daniel's wearing earlier? I had to go back and pause it for a second. I'm like, this could be. So I wonder really if there a bigger connection with Daniel and Helen with our specific silo. We know the Pez dispenser has to be the same one. That makes no sense. But the watch has me thinking that it might be the same thing there too. So they do drop little nuggets here and there for the theory people who really want to go into it and try to figure out what's going on with the show. So that's what I'm wondering is happening there. But I don't know. Did y'all notice anything else like that might tie into our current timeline a little more tightly?
I mean,
I'm going to sound terrible.
Sure. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The Pez, I get it. The watch thing, they don't need to do that, man. That's some Disney ass MCU Once Upon a Time bullshit where they're like, it all connects. It doesn't need to do that, man. I need Daniel to be connected to the built creation of the silo. It could happen. I'm not going to be mad if it happens, but if it's kind of like if you wasted your time and you gave me my dinner 30 minutes late and you're like, but I gave you a garnish. I'm like, I don't, what? Like you spent 30 minutes on a fucking garnish? I'm going to be upset. That's where I'm at with that. It's like, does it actually land? Does it matter? And I hate to say this, put a quarter in, doesn't move the plot jar for Jagger. That's a no for me.
It doesn't, but you know what? The fans have clearly fans of TV shows show that they love this stuff. They love when there's like a little reveal that shows that, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, it's been under my nose the entire time." I'm not saying that's good writing. I'm not saying it moves the plot, but we as an audience have told showrunners, especially after the shows like Lost and Severance, and obviously Game of Thrones with like R plus L equals J. That stuff like had been there in front of us the whole time. So when it finally hits. Not all of them move the plot, but we as an audience have begun to show that we crave that so much that every show is doing this. They're putting little things in there to be like, see, we've been telling you since season 1.
Yeah. I mean, it might be a little nod to the... what I'm guessing happens is Daniel helps become an architect for the silo project, and then maybe he has the option to pick a silo to live in, and at this point, he and Helen are together, and they pick 17 for some fucking reason.
I know too much to maybe not know what's going to happen there, but we'll see. Yeah, we'll find out about that one. And maybe they'll twist things. Who knows? Because they do a lot of things that are different. Sims is an idiot in the books by design. Yeah. Now he's actually being shown
I would argue
as the
he's kind of an idiot in the movie. No, I'm just kidding.
No, for sure.
Well, he was
an idiot, and now he's moving differently, which is good.
Like Sims is actually my favorite character, one of my favorite characters, man. It's nuts. Like because I was just like, why is homie important? The whole time for me. To talk about some of the other characters as well, we need to go back to Knox and Shirley. Knoxed up. That's something. Do we care about
Incredible. No. The only thing I care about is it gives me questions because one of the central storylines in season 1 was about babies and about getting pregnant and how
that was the old pact though.
Yeah, but he hasn't finished the new pact yet. So you're still you have to imagine they're still operating under old pact rules. Now, granted, the doctor that was in charge of the babies blew himself up, so maybe there's chaos in that sector, but for Shirley to just be like, yeah, I'm pregnant now, it feels weird considering what they established in season 1, where everything is regulated, everything is very structured, and it turns out there are certain people they don't want to get pregnant even if they win the lottery. So you can't tell me that Knox and Shirley, after starting rebellion and having all this shit happen the first 2 seasons, suddenly got approval to have a child. So unless they show that Shirley took that shit out years ago on her own, it feels weird that they would do this now, other than to cause drama.
This isn't even in the books. I do know that this is just how like IUDs work in our current world. Like maybe, obviously they probably have to take physicals every so often, and maybe hers is like out of juice. They gotta like charge it up, fill it up with anti-baby again. You know,
Look, I think you're looking into
we
it
have a
too much.
doctor. Good thing we have a doctor on the show that can answer this.
You
for
know,
us.
I think you're looking into it too much, Cop Hammer. Like, I get it, you know, but the whole show has sort
then
of
that's bad writing.
gotten away
That's bad writing, then.
from some of its roots. Like, so much of the books and even early parts of the show were about this structure of the silo and the way the silo works, right? But it's just like Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones had us going from like one part of an island to another part within like a day when it used to be like 7 months of travel. It's the same thing. We're supposed to take days to traverse the floors, and yet seemingly everyone's traversing the gap all the time, even though that's, you know, nowhere near either end of it. So I think you got to suspend some disbelief here. There's plenty of plausible ways that she could have got pregnant, and I'm willing to let that slide in the grand scheme, given the other stuff we've talked about. So I don't hate it as much, but I don't know. I guess like Jack said, it's just, sure, there's an emotional impact now, and it explains a little bit about maybe why they want to go, don't want to go, all this sort of stuff and what's going to happen. But it just doesn't seem to move the plot, move the emotional. Like, I didn't feel as emotionally connected to that as I have other storylines. And maybe it's just because of Knox and Shirley in general and their chemistry being a little off. It just didn't do it for me. I think it will matter a lot more. I do still believe in these writers as a whole, right? I think they've done a pretty decent job overall. Like, I'm nitpicking about things that take a show from a 7-8 to a 9-10, to tell you the truth. And there's still, 4 episodes to bring us back. So I think they do it. I think they land it. I wish they wouldn't do like these like weird cliffhangers at the end that they don't address until the very end of the next episode, right? Like, what was last episode's cliffhanger? Oh my God, this van is moving on its own. It's not me. That was last one, right? Like episode 5. Oh, right. And episode 6 is an entire car ride. The entire episode worth of the car ride, including them telling the, call the police.
It's not a date. It wasn't a date, Vig. It wasn't a date. FYI.
It wasn't a date. It wasn't a blind date. Right. Just to reiterate that, just to get to the end. They could have done it so much faster, but I get it. That's what you got to do in a TV show.
You didn't feel compelled when he cut his hand and then they did the shadow so only their eyes were highlighted as they deeply stare at each other and she wraps his hand.
I get it. I get those decisions. I get the cinematography. I get that you got to do the little bit of hand holding, literal and figurative, when there's some bleeding. But
I want the whole show to end. I want the whole show to end like with Helen going into the silo and she's like, it was a date, and then it shuts and it ends. It just, and then we go right into Lincoln Park.
We know Helen goes into the silo, right? Did I misremember seeing that from one of like the trailers? I don't watch a lot of trailers and teasers, but I think I caught a glimpse.
I don't think we know that at all, man.
Okay, maybe I'm making that up. Maybe we got to go back and look at it. But I think we see a glimpse of like Helen walking into a silo. So I think that happens. We know that happens. We just got to see how it happens now.
Really, it's kind of all what happened here because we got the mystery and supply, the light bulbs. Again, Jules takes a back seat. I guess there's Lucas and Kennedy that we got to get to. They are going out to die.
Yeah.
How is the algorithm going to kill him? Is he going to?
So is it just hoping that their suits fail, which Juliet proved isn't always a thing?
Nuke them.
Like,
you can nuke them. Right, just burn them up as soon as they go. Right, Camille opens the door. Camille controls the door. The algorithm can light them on fire. Who knows?
Drone strike his ass. Boom.
Honestly.
All right, here's an emotional thing that I think you
use the old ways.
Yeah. Clearly, everybody felt really, really bad that Knox found out that his dad died. Right.
Oh, I don't fucking believe that for a second.
Exactly. I know.
First of all, his dad's not dead. There's no goddamn way they're gonna pull that shit.
Right. That was another example. I'm like, what are you guys doing? Just like opening up new threads and just like untwirling them a bit more. What are they doing?
This was season 1 shit. Man. Like, if I wanted to know that Knox had a dad, I know he has a dad, obviously. If I wanted to know that motherfucker, that was like me caring about Knox 4 years ago when the show started. Literally. I don't need this. And I hate that they're making me talk bad. But guys, do you care about Knox's dad? Did you pop on episode 6? You're like, fuck, man. Knox got them daddy issues. I hope they unpack that. I never thought.
I think this might be the first time we've ever heard of his father. And it's like we get the little tidbit in the beginning with Billings where he pops off on Billings for no goddamn, and we're like, okay, clearly this is a sensitive subject. And then we get the whole backstory in the same episode, and then we get the reveal that, oh, your dad died 2 years ago. what the fuck is the point? If you're going to do this, I know we've been complaining about pacing, but this is one of those examples where they seem to give us too much too quickly. And it's like, what are we doing?
I love the way they treat Mechanical like Long Island or Boston. It's like everyone is just so aggressive for no reason.
Poor.
Yeah, they're ready to fight for no reason. It's like, hey man, your dad, he's involved in a massive conspiracy, and we all know that we're about to die soon. This seems important. Fuck
What'd you say?
Yeah.
Don't talk about my daddy.
Yeah. What, you think you better than me or what?
They're just the Belters from The Expanse, down to like their tattoos. They're straight up the Belters from The Expanse. That's all this is, all over again.
It's really frustrating. Book Knox was just a gruff dude. Like, meaning that he was like Ron Swanson, essentially, you know, where he said 4 words, had an idea, people listened to him. Shirley and him just being these angry little people that are around for some reason. I don't.
Can't wait to see how that kid turns out.
Yeah,
definitely well adjusted.
Yeah, that kid is a plant in an angry home. You're gonna wilt, buddy. I'm sorry. Get ready to learn therapy, man. or
get ready to go to supply.
Yeah, you just his destinations are: do you want to be a supply thief or a mechanical crash out? Those are your 2 options. You know? I guess there's the mines. There's always the mines, which is jail for our silo residents. I think that wraps it up. I am excited for us. I hope now these last 4 episodes we just stick with the meat and potatoes that we like. I want to see Daniel and Helen talk about problems. I do not care if it was a date or not. I don't care. You know what I want? I want them to have sex off screen, and then they do the whole button up and fix their hair shit like a sitcom, and then we kind of move on. I'm like, thank God. Now we can shove past this. Anything before we go, Vig?
No, man. I think I just want the viewers to know that like I don't hate the show. I know we're criticizing.
We don't
a lot,
hate
but
the
it comes
show.
from a place of love. When we hate shows, we stop recording episodes about them. Right? We just stop. We do like
Cape
the show.
Fear.
We think. So I still like this show. I want to love this show, and so I want them to do better and be better because they've shown us they have that quality. 4 episodes. I think they bring it in. I think they land this and give us a good, nice ending before the final season. I hope I'm right.
The only question
Coffhammer does not trust them to do it. Yeah.
The only question I have for you is, do you think somebody in Iran is actually driving this thing?
Probably not. I don't think so. I think this is all.
The pact would be, I feel like, a lot more Muslim.
Sharia law?
Yeah, like I feel like there's just not enough religion. There's arguably
too
not enough religion to
uncovered-
be.
There's too many uncovered women walking around. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's arguably not enough religion to be made by America, right? You know, like especially Southern Congressman Thurman. In the book, she's they're a Democrat. You know,
What we need to do is mix The Handmaid's Tale with Silo and create something new.
the Silo Maid's Tale.
There you go. That's where it is.
Juliet is a lonely breeder in Mechanical. I didn't like that. I hate this.
I don't like where this is going.
Yeah, we're gonna go, guys. I'm gonna wrap it up right there. That was a recap of episode 6 of Silo. Make sure to like, subscribe. I forgot to mention we're an audio podcast as well. So all you guys that are on Spotify, Apple, etc., make sure that you give us 5 stars. All this stuff. We'll be back Thursday for another episode. Again, we're going to have House of the Dragon finale, so lock in for that. And then Lanterns as well. It's me, Jagger May. That's Matt Coughlin and Vic Goswami. Love you guys, and I'll see you next time.